Hey guys, welcome to Meet the Band. We Start Productions. We're Mike Montrey Band. I am Mike Montrey.
I'm Jen Augustine.
I'm Duke.
I'm Jack Stanton.
This is 4 of what is usually a 6-piece band that usually features Andy Meyer on drums, Phil Silverberg on keyboards. Let's see. Duke and I have been playing music together for decades. Bands that predated Mike Montrey Band. And Jen.
I've been here for a better part of a decade, I think, at this point.
It's true. Jack, you want to tell us how you
I'm
got
the
it?
new guy. I answered a want ad, and there I am.
You've always been lucky with the one ads.
Usually I'm lucky.
You know what I remember, Jack, specifically, the first gig we played, it was in Cape May with you on it. And it was the Cape May Singer-Songwriter Fest. And you had set yourself up because the stage entered in through a door to the outside. And you had the charts of the songs that you just learned. And somebody opened that door, and the wind just came through and blew all of your music charts. Like, right as we were starting the first song.
You were unfazed.
No, yeah. But it was funny. I remember looking back and being like, oh, man, this could go wrong. It didn't, though. Jack's still here, so that's good. Our stuff is, well, how would you guys describe the music that we play?
I think it's morphed and evolved over the years. I think that the earlier stuff when I joined the band had more of like a, I don't want to say jammy, but it went there. It went out there. There were horn players and different configurations. And I think that over these last 2 albums, Mike's songwriting has kind of honed itself in a way that lends itself more to this Americana, roots rock, I don't know, it's a different vibe than the band that I started with, and they were both equally as fun to play with, but I feel like he's really, and we've really found a home here with this music in these last couple of albums. And it feels good,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a sound that, the pedal steel thing was interesting because when I made the album John Street in 2018, I knew I wanted pedal steel on there, but I didn't know he was going to play on every song. Like, we got in there and we recorded that album out in Los Angeles with a guy named Jim Scott, who's a great producer, done great things with some great bands, and he brought in a guy named Dave Perlman, who was a great player, and to play pedal steel. And after the first song, he was just in on every song. It was just that was it. We just played like a band as we recorded it, and then I was like, I gotta be honest with you, finding pedal steel players. You guys are all like at least 50 years plus. It's not. Yeah.
I think Mike described it as like going down this deep, dark rabbit hole of like the underbelly of online pedal steel message boards.
Yeah, that's where you find them.
That's how we found Jack, and now Jack's family.
I have a tattoo, but I can't show you where.
Yeah, yeah. It's you guys got to start bringing in some younger people, though. Or you guys, it's gonna get.
Out.
Yeah. I'm just being honest.
You're preaching to the choir. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, that's kind of the metamorphosis of things as far as how we all got together and how we started to play kind of what we're playing now and stuff that we've basically done more recently. So obviously Mike Montrey Band is my name, but. When years ago, when Duke and I started a band, the name of the band was Water, and that was taken from this Bruce Lee quote about water being the teapot. And I don't know how many of you guys that's a heavy.
Be water.
Thing. Yes, be water, my friend. And anyway, so obviously it seems obvious why people would call a name like the person, but in my situation, I didn't necessarily want to do that. But what I realized after a while was playing music. Especially when you're like the chief songwriter or something, after a while, people will start to let you down sometimes. Like you have a band and like this guy all of a sudden can't play and this guy can't do this. They told you we were going to do this. And we were actually supposed to go out and play a bunch of shows with Water, and our drummer just like bailed. And I was like, man, I can't keep doing this. Like I got to if nothing else, if I just name the band after me, then it's just what that is. And then if these people come and play, that was honestly why I did it. I remember I had the conversation with Duke once. I was like, it's not going to be this thing anymore. I just think that this is a better way to do it, because when you have the name of a band, people come to expect that those are the people that play in that band. Like, you go to see the Rolling Stones, and Keith Richards isn't there.
Right.
It's not the Rolling Stones. But when you go to see David Bowie, and he's got somebody else playing bass that night, nobody even bats an eye. Like, they're like, they know, but it's not the same thing. And I was like, I want to play with the same people all the time, but it's hard to do in this business sometimes,
It's impossible.
And so that kind of solved that for me a little bit. I said, see what it is. This is what it is. And that's, I guess, a little more interesting story about that than maybe why Bruce Springsteen goes by Bruce Springsteen. Although he separated out the E Street Band.
For the Hall of Fame.
Right, and think about that. Well, you think about that too. It's like he's like...
That's all.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's although for a while there I tried to have it be MMB, but that got weird. Like the acronym being the name.
Were there any other names you threw around? Just curious.
There was Shasta.
This is a learning experience for me. Shasta.
We did play a couple of gigs of Shasta once, but that wasn't.
God, I wish we were Shasta.
That was the Edgar Diaz, Tyler. What was his last name? The sax player.
Oh, no, he was good. What was that guy's name?
Smith.
California guy.
Smith.
It might have been Smith. Big Smith. Makes sense. And the other guy, too.
So there was Shasta for a minute, but that was like pre this style stuff anyway. So. Although I do think that putting the band on there has some value though too. So I thought about that because it is a band, like rather than just the person. I think that when you see that, like the difference of Zach Brown band as opposed to say Bruno Mars. I don't know why I just use those examples.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jackson. It's not the Michael Jackson band. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not like the Jerry Garcia band. He always had the band on there. Because at least I feel this way. I'm not trying. I don't know. There's an oddness to being like this is me, as opposed to it being a band. It's always been a band. Everybody's as important as everybody else when you play together. Once it doesn't work. I mean, especially the drummer, man. It's always the most important player in the band.
I feel like Spinal Tap sometimes. Like, you've been through 37 drummers or something ridiculous like that before. It's hard. It's hard. I guess that follows in line with this whole idea of calling us the band and not expecting specific players to be there all the time. We've had some great guys. It's just sometimes life happens and it doesn't always stick or work out. So.
And you don't want to pass up on opportunities because of that. And that's what starts to happen when you have a band that's specifically configured of certain individuals all of the time. It's like you feel like this guy can't. And that was what was happening to us back then. This guy can't do it. I guess we're not going to do it. Like, and then you're like, but this guy really doesn't want to do this in the first place. And so it's like that's problematic. Yeah. But ultimately, that's the story. So we got connected with We Star Productions back when the virtual music world was beginning, I guess you could say, in the after the initial pandemic stuff. I got on the phone with Dave, and I think initially we were just looking for somebody to live stream a release of an album that we were putting out, strangely, in the pandemic, because we'd recorded it February, just before things happened, and then we had this album, and I was trying to find ways to live stream it in an actual venue, which wound up being the Saint in Asbury Park. But then Dave really told me extensively about We Star Productions in that conversation, and the idea was great, and we were interested in it, and then we started working together, and that led to the Langosta Lounge benefit, in which people could vonate for their cause. Vonate. And apparently we raised the most money that day and got the opportunity to record 2 songs in the Carousel and then come for this interview. I thought the Langosta experience was great. It was that video itself came out great. It was cool to play. There was a limited audience. What did you guys think of that?
Langosta was fun. I mean, it was just so in the beginning of this, before we got linked up with WeStar, Mike and I had been doing these kind of like acoustic duo live streams, and it was just the strangest experience being used to playing live and, you know, ending a song and just staring out the window to crickets. And it was just the energy, you know, that comes with live music just wasn't there as much as we wanted to play. And so getting to be in front of people, even in a limited setting, like capacity like that, I think kind of re-energized us a little bit and gave us, you know, a little more motivation to do more of these things. And some practice that we probably needed because, you know, being locked in your house for a while can make you rusty. And so I thought it went really well. And I was just learning now that that's how we ended up doing the Carousel video, is by getting the most donations. And that was awesome for me personally because I used to live down in this area and worked in Asbury right across from the Carousel for years and had never actually been inside of it. And it's a really, really cool space, and it's a great place to do a video like that and have a band play, and just the acoustics are, you know, they come with maybe some difficulties, but they're also, it sounded just so pretty, you know, and people walking by and kind of taking it in on just like on the fly in an organic way, you know, again, it just refuels some of that energy that's kind of missing in these days where we can't play as often as we'd like to.
So when we were asked to do the Carousel songs, we opted to record 2 songs off of In the Middle of Hope, which was the album we just put out, Tell Me You Love Me and Statues and Saints. Part of the reason for that was because we had actually made videos for 2 of the other songs on the album already, Spirit of Youth and Victoria. In addition, we played those at the Langosta thing also, so we had a lot of footage of those songs. And the album was only 6 songs to begin with because it was kind of cut short with everything that was going on. Unfortunately, normally we have a keyboard player with us, but because of some of the COVID circumstances, he was quarantined for the Carousel recording. So we did it as a 5-piece, and those songs worked really well in that dynamic. And I thought a lot of these songs, for me, writing them, wound up being fitting to the circumstance that was happening, specifically Statues and Saints. And Tell Me You Love Me is more of a kind of trials and tribulations of love kind of song, but Statues and Saints kind of held some value in the current circumstance.
So talking about the songs from the album, particularly the 2 we did at the Carousel, we had the opportunity recently to do Porch Fest, and that was actually the afternoon before we went and did our live stream at the Saint.
Right.
And just, you know, the power of live music and music as a communal thing and a healing thing. As Mike mentioned earlier, there's a kind of a breakdown, an a cappella part in Statues and Saints. And for me, and I've been doing this a really long time, and I've always been drawn to original music and artists to original music. So we're doing Statues and Saints outside, and it was a pretty good crowd. I mean, it's a pandemic day, but it's outside. There was a couple hundred people on the corner. Yeah. It was like the largest crowd we played it for a long time. And so we're in the middle of the song where it breaks down and stops for a minute and picks back up, and we stop it, and all of a sudden it's like there's just all this applause and just building and building and going on and on. To me, it was like being just covered with waves of, I don't even know what, something magical, and just, you know, smacked me in the face and reminded me, you know, the power of music. You know, it was just amazing.
It was an eruption.
It was, yeah. And then of course we don't know whether to pick it back up. Should we stop there? We did, but
do we come back in?
To me, that's just one of those magical moments that music creates.
It was cathartic, right? And maybe lent itself a little bit to choosing that song again in the Asbury Park setting. You know, that positive correlation.
And as we were going to discuss playing amongst the artwork there, Jen.
Well, I think it ties into what I was saying before. You know, Asbury is such a cool art community. It has been. Can't take that away. Can't deny it. And I think that part of its draw is the confluence of all those things. You know, fine and visual and performing arts, and to be able to be in that space again with all of the murals, and I think it was the wood wall project. and the artwork around us, and it just added to the whole experience, the whole vibe for us, and I think for anybody that watches it. It's one thing to stand on a stage with some lights on you and your instruments and play, and there's a place for that, and we love to do that. But to take ourselves out of that environment and put ourselves into something that brings these other artistic elements into it is also pretty special. And it's a way to acknowledge the artwork that happens here in Asbury and to bring our own art into it.
Let's not discount Dave's dog who was walking around.
Yes.
Shaka.
That was cool. That was cool. That was cool. I want that to be noted. I didn't just bring that up to, he was just kind of casually walking back and forth.
He was.
But yeah, what did you guys think of the experience? Jack?
It was great. This is one of those buildings that you can buy a million times and never got a chance to actually go in and experience what's happening. And then the artwork, and of course the smoke machine was a lot of fun. And, it was a beautiful day out, walking on the boardwalk.
It was a beautiful day that day, you're right.
It was nice. I disagree with the smoke machine, the fog machine.
Jack loves a good smoke machine.
It was nice, though.
It was all for the ambiance.
Fog's got it
It's a little hard to see the frets, but...
And it was a benefit for the toy drive also, which I'm all for. Having a 9-year-old son, toy drives are good. So that was cool.
We've done things like that in the past. I think we've tried to every year. We used to throw a holiday show in New Brunswick and link ourselves up with Elijah's Promise, which is a soup kitchen up there, and try to do benefit for them and, try to align ourselves. Mike and I used to go and play Christmas Eve, dinner there, service there, and play Christmas songs, and just, I don't know, you feel like you reach people with your music, but if you can give back even more with that, then what's wrong with that? Can't argue with it.
Nope.
Yes, art is a fundraiser. Nobody's making any money with their art anyway, so you might as well.
Do something good with it,
But no, it was great. That was I will definitely remember playing in the Carousel, and I hope that they can keep that building kind of alive as what it is, and not maybe not turn it into like a hotel or something like that.
Bookstore.
Yeah.
I feel like a bookstore.
Sometimes it's a
good
flea
bookstore,
market.
though.
Have you ever been there when it's like a flea market and they're just like selling
true.
random stuff in there?
That's true.
It was
That's
an
cool.
arcade once, wasn't it?
Is that true? It was an arcade?
How do I think that?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was.
I could be wrong. I just have the feeling.
The many incarnations of the Carousel House.
Yeah. Well, there had to have been a carousel in there.
Exactly.
At least once, right?
Bring it back.
Cool.
But yeah, that was a good day.
So the two songs that we decided to play at the Carousel off of our album In the Middle of Hope, which came out in 2020, Tell Me Love Me, Statues and Saints. As I mentioned in the previous clip briefly, we opted to use those two because we had some video footage of two of the other 6 songs on the record. So it made sense to go with some different songs for this. But that said, Statues and Saints had some correlation to this pandemic circumstance, and lyrically, it really resonated to me with what we were doing and what was happening. And Tell Me Love Me.
Literally, it really resonated in that space too. Just because of the nature of the song, and there's an a cappella moment in there, and it's almost like a church experience in that space with the acoustics and singing a song like that. It's we're not a big band on religion, but that was pretty close, It
was cathartic in some way, maybe.
And Tell Me You Love Me or something.
Well, Tell Me Love Me, we just like playing that song, to be honest, a lot. That one of the songs that I think we recorded on this album, Tell Me You Love Me, was
Fun.
It was right out of the gate. It was more like a rock kind of tune that we could just kind of open up on a little bit and have some fun with. So that's a good juxtaposition too when you play. So we have a variety of songs at tempo and feel and stuff. Some are slow, some are upbeat, etc. It's good to balance that. And if you're only going to get to record 2 songs, maybe you think of it that way. I mean, these are a lot of reasons, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I kind of just like those 2 songs. So I played them.
That's what we were feeling.
There's some.
You can go deep with it, but
it's true. And we were very happy with the record we put out, and we hope to kind of put out a second part. It was really supposed to be more than that. We just only had a chance to record 6 songs because of the pandemic, and our plan is to kind of open up on that, and once this is kind of past us, put out something else with maybe what could have been the second half of that.
On the back end of Hope.
Yeah, right. I mean, how many albums and songs are going to be called like Away with the Mask or something like that? There's going to be like metaphors for days about the when this is coming out of the other side, especially in music.
Mike actually wrote a song in the middle of all this that he put out just him solo. That was, I never thought I'd miss a traffic jam.
That's true.
Very literally directed about a.
I don't go anywhere anymore, man. It's like I used to go everywhere. Now I'm like, I got a new car. It's got like 800 miles on it total in like a year.
You go from the bed to the office.
It's weird. It's weird, man. To the bed, to the screen, playing songs, like the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I just, But so, yeah, we'll have some more music out soon. But that stuff came off this record, and I think it's a good representation of what we've been doing, and we were really excited to play those songs that day. It came out good. We just watched a little bit of it before. Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was very good.
So, being as we were unable to tour behind our album we put out in 2020, In the Middle of Hope, we're going to try to start doing that as soon as possible. And first up is a We Star Productions event here on March 4th, and it is called
Monopoly City Music Series.
So Club Bore is the venue in Atlantic City. And the other acts, Taylor Tote, Cranston Dean, and Patty C, in addition to ourselves.
And it's benefiting musicians at the Leadership Studio as well, so
Which will be cool. Yeah, it's going to be a great event. Hopefully we can springboard that into more live music come the spring.
Yeah.
And, that's just the dream, I think, of everybody that's playing. So.
I want an outside show in the summer. That's all I really want, Life these days. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can get there.
I think so, yeah.
And write some more songs about it.
Yeah, so the main, I think, when you talk about what's upcoming for any band right now, it's really just when can you start to play again. That answer we don't have yet, really. I mean, we have it in limited, scenarios, but, more significantly. So, we'll let that kind of guide us, and hopefully... I'm hopeful, though, summer. Once you're outside, these are a lot different. Even last year outside, it's just that you bring in the crowd. The problem you're going to run into is the festival scenario with these bigger events that we sometimes play at. They just can't have, I don't know if they'll be able to have that many people there yet, but still outside as a thing will work.
We're grateful for things like this, and We Start Productions and Langosta and the different venues and people that have tried to keep the fires kind of burning while all of this is going on for the artists, because it's such a communal medium of art, and without the give and take of the energy of it, it becomes difficult at times. So anybody that's going to support that and give opportunities for us to do that, we are eternally grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to find us online, our website is MikeMontreyBand.com. Our social media handles are at Mike Montrey Band in all capacities.
Yeah. Find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on Spotify.
YouTube.
Got our YouTube channel. You can find us in all the places.
If you want to buy music from us and actually have us get paid, go to Bandcamp.
Merch.
Band.
That's for you, Jack.
That's the real ticket. But yeah, at Mike Montrey Band for all social media scenarios. You'll find us.
I want to thank Joe from Telegraph Hill.
Did the sound in the Carousel. Madison, Marquette for letting us record there in such a cool space.
Yes, and mainly, We Start Productions, as they're a nonprofit. Please donate if you can, so they can keep affording to do things like this and contributing to the community artistically. In closing, again, we're Mike Montrey Band. Here with us today, I'm Mike Montrey.
I'm Jen Augustine.
I'm Phil Silverberg.
Jack Stanton.
Our 2 live stream recordings from the Carousel will debut on all social media outlets Friday, February 26th. Thanks again to We Start Productions for putting this whole thing together, and we hope to see you out there playing
middle of
music.
hope.
You know, in the middle
Check
of
out
hope.
the album.
Yeah, that's our record. Check it out. Find it. Thanks again, guys.
Listen to me.